and so on. And at the same time, it's quick and efficient and simple. All you have to do is just snap a shot of it and it'll take you to that website address or whatever data it is. So the idea here is for the bank to differentiate their product, let consumers look at them differently. Apparently this is quite an appealing way for youth nowadays. This is the way youth want to be communicated with. I'm not saying here litter the city with QR codes, but I mean take advantage of papers, magazines, newspapers, billboards, and so on to reach out to these consumers and advertise their product. Now, if I do remember correctly, off the top of my head, Ajman Bank is one of the first banks in the Gulf to incorporate QR codes in the region, which is quite impressive. And at the same time, Music Master in Dubai, what they did is they built a 3 million track system or database. And interestingly, what they did is, obviously the database was for legal paid-for downloads. They offered their consumers free tracks when they actually linked up these QR codes on their Facebook page. So it's another way of increasing traffic and advertising your product, whether it's another way of bringing social media together and at the same time through different channels here. This is an interesting product here. It's from the US, from one of the co-founders of Twitter, Square. And what this device is basically, it's all about just connecting this device to your iPhone, and it allows your iPhone to become a credit card accepting merchant. In other words, becoming a POS terminal. Now, what I could say about this product here is it's definitely showing here that the mobile is a major disruptor to the industry. It's entirely reshaping the retail banking industry, and at the same time, it's creating this new merchant class in the industry. So basically now anybody selling goods in an open market could actually just plug in this item to their iPhone and swipe cards and make payments. Or basically smaller retailers, they could actually start accepting credit cards for payments. It's quite an interesting tool, but the idea here is how this is altering and changing the entire industry, and at the same time this increases the transaction activity, which is of a benefit to the banks too. What we're looking at here is, the reason why I added this is simply because a lot of banks now are currently utilizing social media in terms of selling their products or advertising and so on. Now, Foursquare is quite an interesting tool or a web-based platform. It's basically a location-based mobile platform, which is quite common in the US. Lots of people are using it. They're getting over 1 million users on a daily basis in terms of usage, not subscribers. Now, what this does is basically it allows clients or retailers track down consumers in terms of where they're checking into, what kind of retailers and so on. It's another way or means of attracting new clients to your branch to listen to pitches or basically get discounts and so on and drive the activity in these retailers. It's quite an interesting tool. I urge you all to look into that and utilize it, as many what I wouldn't say banks, but businesses are starting to utilize Foursquare in their business model. And what they do is they offer deals, discounts for a person checking into a certain retailer and using a specific credit card, for instance. So again, it's another way of bringing social media together and utilizing it for everyone's benefit. In here, mobile catalyzes lift in plastic, especially prepaid. The whole idea of this slide is basically just to look at prepaid. The concept of prepaid, as we all know, prepaid is being utilized or used in mainly mobile services to pay or top up their credits. So basically, the idea here is quite common in most of the markets, which is good. So the idea of basically paying ahead for something and the deducts as you move on is there already. So what we could do is we could start utilizing this idea in our financial services even more and make people feel that it's more of a financial services essential. So What I'm trying to say here is the first thing I would do is work with a general purpose reloadable card, which I do know that lots of people are utilizing this for different purposes, especially here in the UAE. They came up with the wage protection system where they actually provided payroll cards and so on. So what I'm trying to say here is the prepaid concept is quite important to use simply because that helps us in transitioning people from the cash-based society to plastic and then eventually to mobile phone, right? That's in the last section here, mobile strategies worth replicating. I'm going to look at some of the, or basically 4 strategies which are cued from around the world, which I thought are pretty interesting to look at, and I'm not sure if they're being utilized here or if ever have been utilized, but definitely something to consider. Before we get there, the consumers crave for simplicity. This is basically from Siegel and Gale. They have released the Global Brand Simplicity Index. Now, interestingly enough, some of their key findings was, among all consumers worldwide, the Middle Eastern consumers are the highest concerned about simplicity. Now, another finding, interesting finding, was that the media companies or industries and technology industries are the simplest in terms of their interaction with the consumers. However, it was found that banking industry and insurance are the most complex in terms of their interaction with their consumers. So it's something definitely that we have to look into and start adapting to the new technology, utilize mobile commerce more in order to enhance the customer experience and at the same time basically improve the usage of our facilities, banking facilities. It's all about convenience, simplicity here, easy to use stuff. That's basically what people are looking for, especially in the Middle East. So it's apparently something that we should definitely consider. Now, some of the numbers here I'd like to read is between 11 to 34% of the consumers in the UAE and Saudi are willing to pay more for brands they believe offer the greatest value of simplicity, which is basically in line with some of the emerging markets like India, which is 18 to 34%, and in China we have 12 to 31%, which is significantly higher than the European countries, 4 to 15%. And then the lowest is the US, which is 7 to 17% of the people are willing to pay for brands, more for brands, which offer a higher value of simplicity. Now, there are ways to cater for convenience and simplicity, and obviously these solutions that are being introduced to the market will eventually help in that. Some of these are basically the virtual wallet mobile, which is basically from PNC Mobile in the US. Now, what this does is, it's quite an interesting tool. It's a money management tool where you install it on the iPhone iPhone. And what it does is, it links all your accounts in terms of credit cards, checking, saving accounts, and so on to this tool. And then what you're able to do is, you're able to make transfers, P2P transfers, and at the same time, pay your bills, check your statements. It's very easy, simple. You don't have to log online, type all the account numbers and all. It's convenient for consumers. It's a hassle-free. It allows consumers to spend more time on more important things. And obviously, I mean, this product here stresses the convenience and simplicity idea again, which is quite interesting. And then if you look at the second slide here, this is also an interesting model and solution, which is by Wizit from South Africa. Brian Richardson is the managing director and co-founder of this. What this does is, it focuses mainly on transitioning the unbanked population to the banking services. It's been quite successful in South Africa and has been stretching out to, they actually branched out to Romania, Zambia, and Tanzania. The idea here is to acquire new clients on a daily basis. These clients, what they could do is access their statements, do transfers, payments from one person to the other, make payments at retail stores, and at the same time what Wizit does, it provides them with the Maestro card to gain access to cash. It's pretty much convenience, simplicity again, it stresses the same idea, and The advantage of that is basically people don't have to carry a large amount of cash. Now, I'm not saying banks will make a lot of money out of this, and I wouldn't actually suggest banks to apply this model by themselves. Obviously, what they'll have to do is partner up with one of these mobile banking solutions who actually focus or understand the unbanked population in terms of how to reach out to them and so on. Now, in the next two slides here, I'm going to move away from money management and POS to look at more payment solutions. As we all know, payment offers a lot of opportunities in terms of the mobile banking or mobile commerce space. This is from Danske Bank in Denmark. It's an application that you download onto your iPhone, or you can actually, yes, onto your iPhone. And what it does is you can just snap a photo of a utility bill or a mobile bill and just click pay, and then the payment is transacted. Again, it addresses the most common thing, which is convenience. Apparently, that's what people need nowadays. Bill payment is quite important and major and has been gaining a lot of traction. It improves the existing experience too. And basically, in the second slide here, which is the last one, which is something similar to that, that's by JP Chase in the US. Now, the idea here is a check can be deposited directly to the account by just taking a picture of it from the front and the back. Now, this has been out there for quite a while, mainly in the commercial side, but JP Morgan decided to roll it out to consumers and smaller retailers, which is quite convenient now. So you don't have to go to the bank and deposit a check or mail it and so on. But all you have to do is just take a picture of it, deposit it, and it's deposited. It's an interesting tool here. No need to tie up your tellers at the branch, and at the same time, it helps the bank differentiate. Now, I'm not saying here JP Morgan Chase acquired over 1,000 consumers in a day per se, but it definitely, to be fair enough here, they actually acquired lots of consumers. And in the same way, it differentiates your brand, make people look at you in a different way, and at the same time, it improves stickiness, consumer stickiness, and acquire new consumers going forward. I hope that was helpful. Do you have any questions at the moment?